Hi, I'm Jennifer Spaniel, and I chose to do my project on DIBELS. So you're probably wondering, what is DIBELS? Well, DIBELS is an acronym that stands for Dynamic Indicators of Basic Early Literacy Skills. So what DIBELS does is it uses very short assessment tools to monitor the development of children's reading skills from kindergarten through the 6th grade. It helps identify students who are having trouble attaining these basic early literacy skills. It can be very helpful in the classroom of students with disabilities because it's a quick, easy way to determine where your students stand developmentally in their reading and the approaches you need to take to help them improve. Also, it can be used on a continual basis to make sure you're headed toward your goal. The best part is that each assessment takes less than 3 minutes, so it's very easy and time appropriate. There are 5 big principles that DIBELS addresses. They are phonemic awareness, alphabetical principle, accuracy and fluency with connected text, reading comprehension, and vocabulary. Now, the first time I saw these, I initially thought, what do all these things mean? So I'm sure some of you are thinking the exact same thing. We'll begin at the top with phonemic awareness. This literacy skill is the ability to hear and manipulate sounds in words. For example, you should be able to say the sounds such as ah, p, and the child can tell you what words you are saying, which is mop. But also, you should be able to say what sound do each of the letters in the word mop make, and the student should look at you and say ah, p. So basically, a phoneme is a sound that an individual letter of the alphabet makes, such as M makes the sound m. Phonemic awareness is measured through 2 different types of tests in DIBELS. The first is called initial sound fluency, and the second is called phoneme segmentation fluency. Now, initial sound fluency is assessing the child's ability to name and say the initial sound of a word. It is done by the examiner presenting a paper with 4 different pictures on it, and they name each picture. Then they ask the child to identify the picture that begins with a spoken sound by pointing to it or saying it. So if you have a picture of a bear on the piece of paper, you should say, which picture begins with the sound B, and the student should point to bear. Here is an example of what this test would look like if it was administered. Now keep in mind, I am not a trained professional in DIBELS, and these materials are not official. I just wanted to give you an idea of what this assessment would look like if it were to take place in your classroom. Which one begins with the sound ah? Ah. Point to it. Which one begins with the sound ul? Ul. Which one? And which one begins with the sound f? And which one begins with the sound b? B. Good, thank you. The other test that can be used to measure phonemic awareness is phoneme segmentation fluency, which assesses the child's ability to say the sounds within a given word. So the examiner will present a word that has 3 or 4 phonemes, such as sat, and then the student will respond by saying what each letter's sound is. So they should say s, a, t if they answer correctly. This test is a good predictor of their later reading achievement because it assesses the child's ability to say the sound of each letter in a word without hesitation. This leads to reading the full word later on in a text. Here is an example of this assessment. Now again, remember, this is not official and I'm not officially trained, but I want you to see what it would be like. Bat.
At.
Men. Ran.
Oh, what are you doing, Tess?
Win.
Sorry, this is happening.
Rot.
Ought.
The second big principle that DIBELS addresses is the alphabetic principle. This is the ability to associate sounds with letters and use these sounds to form words. This is measured with the nonsense word fluency test, which assesses the child's ability to blend letters together to form unfamiliar words and the letter-to-sound correspondence that they create. The examiner presents a paper with random vowel-consonant words and consonant-vowel-consonant words, such as rav, R-A-V, ov, O-V, and other words in that form. Then they are told to either produce each individual letter of the whole nonsense word or say the whole word as it sounds verbally. Now here is an example of the nonsense word fluency test.
I'm just telling you the whole word. Jeff, meth, da, bad, and nah.
Very good. Thank you very much. The third big principle that DIBELS addresses is the accuracy and fluency within connected text. This is the ability to read text effortlessly and automatically. This is measured with oral reading fluency, which is determining the child's ability to read text in grade level material. After performing this test, you would be able to tell whether or not you needed to adapt the type of reading materials you were supplying to a student and monitor their progress towards your instructional goals. This can be very helpful in a special education setting. The test that's used to measure it, oral reading fluency, is performed by having the child read the passage provided for 1 minute.
Someone had asked Jared Grace what jobs his brother and sister would have when they grew up. He would have had no trouble replying. He would have said that his brother Simon would be either a veterinarian or a lion tamer. He would say that his sister Mallory would either be an Olympic fencer or in jail for stabbing someone with a sword. But he couldn't say what job he would grow up to have. Not that anyone asked him, not that anyone asked his opinion on anything at all.
Now the last two big principles are comprehension, which is the interaction between the reader and the text to convey the meaning, and vocabulary, which is the ability to use and understand words to convey meanings. DIBELS can be used to measure these principles as well to help you determine your child's reading ability. Now after you have done the DIBELS tests, here's a website that you can use to help your students improve on these 5 big literacy skills. Take a look at the DIBELS activities that you can do online to help students improve those early literacy skills. First, we're going to open up our web browser, and then we're going to go to www.teachers.co.uk/GALGANO/DIBEL2.htm and then hit enter. This is going to bring you to the DIBELS Interventions Electrified page. All these links you see here are going to bring up different lists of activities that you can use to work on different types of early literacy skills. We're going to look at letter recognition, and then we're going to scroll down to create a reader. Now, I liked the letter sounds activity on this site because it allows the students to hear a letter, such as A, then they're going to say the sound A makes, which is A, and they're also going to have a picture and say A makes a sound A, as in apple. So it helps the students associate the sound of the letter and the word with the picture, which is one of the tests that DIBELS does. So here's an example.
This is the letter A. It makes the sound A. Say A. As in apple.
Now, this for each of the letters of the alphabet. Now, and this is just one example that you can of the activities that you can do to help your students build their skills. As you can see, this system is fast, easy, and appropriate to use when determining the literacy level of your students. It allows you to see where a student is on the path to being a proficient reader, where their trouble areas are, and the progress they are making toward your final goals.